politicians who talk about being a Christian who are the least Christ-like. You can't call yourself a Christian and deny health care to the sick.
Boo.
Coming from a galaxy near you, this is Brothers and Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
Well, boo to that. Happy something. Happy May. Welcome to Brothers and Booze. I don't know what happened with that video. Is it gonna play now?
That is the politicians who
No.
talk.
It sounds very like in a barrel there.
I do?
No, that video sounded like it was being broadcast in a barrel. It was really weird.
I didn't even hear it. So, welcome to Brothers and Booze. I have a farmhouse ale here from Fernson Brewing out of South Dakota. Doug.
South Dakota? Wow.
How many South Dakota beers have you had in your life?
0. That I know of. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
All right. This says farmhouse ale. And when you say farmhouse ale, people think of like saisons or like, funky things. This drink's like the famous farmhouse ale around me, Spotted Cow. Drinks a lot like Spotted Cow. And that's a good thing, not a bad thing. 4.5%, so it's low alcohol. It's an easy drinker, perfect for May, even though I've had it in my fridge for a bunch of months. Yeah, but it's still good. Crisp, nice, fresh. Here we go.
Nice. Is almost as long as you had that Pilsner you drank last week. That was like a year old.
Yeah, that was all right.
And that worked out fine, right? All right, so All right.
Wait. He said it works fine. I didn't hear it.
I heard it, but it was like kind of like a little like, try it. Let's see if it works.
Christian who are the least Christ-like.
I don't hear it.
I do.
You can't call yourself a Christian.
Yep.
And deny health care to the sick. Okay. You can't call yourself a Christian and vote to cut food stamps for the poor. You can't call yourself a Christian and reject the stranger seeking asylum at our southern border. You can't call yourself a Christian and destroy God's creation with greenhouse gases. And you can't call yourself a Christian and discriminate against your neighbor because of their race, gender, or sexual orientation. I personally know plenty of Hindus, Buddhists, Jews, Muslims, Sikhs, and atheists who are more Christ-like than some of the self-proclaimed Christians serving elected office.
Yeah.
As they say, preach. All right. So I'm going to go back to your stomping grounds, Greg. Funk Brewing out of Philly. S'mores Porter. I will tell you, I have an actual theme tonight, and I didn't realize it until I picked my beers. The theme is dessert, so strap in. It's going to be a fun night.
Okay. I love Funk Brewing, but they're not known. They're known for funky, big, hoppy beers. Not known for the porters, at least for me.
Yeah, it's obviously a s'more porter, but it's only 6%, so it's not very high ABV. But
porter shouldn't be. I think our Cicerone will tell us that generally porter shouldn't be.
Yeah,
but imperials and politics.
Yeah. So on the nose there, a little bit of graham cracker, mostly marshmallow smell. So
marshmallows. I'm jealous.
So
Funk is amazing.
The s'more part is actually a little muted, which is fine by me because it's not overly sweet. You get some graham cracker on the aftertaste, and the roastiness kind of comes through with the graham cracker at the same time. So it's a nice little combo, and the marshmallows there in the middle. But yeah, this is excellent. Really good. Sometimes you get s'more beers and they're just freaking super sweet, like kind of overzealous with the lactose. This really, really beautiful beer. Really, really drinks well, and 6%. So yeah, cheers, Greg. I sent you something about that, and I said Funk Brewing was kind of down by where you're from. He's like, I love Funk Brewing, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm buying that.
Shout out to Matt Clark. Matt Clark, been on the stream a bunch of times. Him and I went to Funk Brewing. The only time I was ever there, I met him there. It was fabulous. Great times. Emmaus, PA, right off the main strip there, y'all. For anybody who's been to Emmaus, PA. Every time I go back, Funk is a must, Doug. I have to go there. So good on you for that. You get a little round of applause for that.
Very happy. I snagged a 4-pack of that. I'm very happy about that. So
all right. Well, let's get to proceedings. So I got the first one, Doug. You got the second one. First would be our friend Ange, of course, is still doing Being Black and Craft every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. I love how she does that. She puts Pacific first, y'all, and Eastern last. Yeah, y'all Eastern people, last. I'm tired of you putting y'all first. So, I mean, y'all gonna get first on all that. You get the New Year's Eve first, okay? So on Angie's graphic, you get it last. Yes. But Bubble Line Brewing, y'all, I'm not sure if y'all familiar with them. They are a Minneapolis-based brewery that's going to have their own brick and mortar in 2025. I believe they're doing a GoFundMe right now for it. So if y'all want to bump over there on to Bubble Line, Google it. You can probably jump on their GoFundMe or whatever they have going on. And you could jump in Being Black on Craft on Monday. You see on IG, YouTube, looks like X over there, Twitter. Sorry, I didn't get that. I gotta call Twitter. And yeah, so check that out. I'm gonna be checking it out because I'm gonna try to get her on here, Doug. So you already know. Black breweries, you know, it's a big thing with me over here. It's a big thing with us over here.
Yep, for sure.
So absolutely. And speaking of black breweries, we have a black show or movie to talk about here, Doug.
So our friend Whitney Ann Adams, who is a costume designer, who's been on the show multiple times. Very good one too. Worked on The Great Gatsby, was actually her first movie to do costume design on, which is kind of badass. But she's just a costume designer for this show that's about the Supremes and the origin of Supremes coming to Hulu. So I hadn't heard about this. She kind of kept it under wraps, as she does, because she can't talk about that stuff until it's released. But looking forward to seeing that because it'll be great to see her work on the screen. And yeah, Whitney's just the best. We love Whitney.
Absolutely. And we try to book her whenever we can, y'all. So if we don't have her, it's because she's unavailable. How about that? But we try. She's great, and can't get enough of Whitney. That's great. And when's that? August 23rd.
Yeah.
And you said, Doug, this is a series, not a movie.
It looks like it. Boy, I don't know. She generally works on movies, so maybe it is a movie.
Yeah. Either way, we can binge that shit. So
for sure. Either way, if it's a movie, watch it all at once, and then if it's a show, watch it in bits if you have to, like I do, because I can't watch it in a binge fashion. But yeah,
absolutely. So, without further ado, Doug, I think we've done all of our housekeeping here. So we can actually, I don't know. Just so y'all know, little tease next week, y'all. It's time to talk music with Jerry. I'm still caught up in the rap battle that ended like 3 weeks ago, and I'm still there, dog. I still want more. Not gonna happen, but plus I've been listening to all kinds of things going on. I've been listening to all the rap battle people. Billy Ellis dropped one today. You and I were talking about in the background. Who else dropped one? Chance the Rapper dropped one. Who else?
Chance did. Also, Childish Gambino did too.
Childish Gambino, yes.
Which I haven't listened to yet. But I'm looking forward to that. So
yeah, I got a bunch to catch up on. Not that Billie Eilish song album was, if you like Billie Eilish, you'll like it. So I'm avoiding that Taylor album, man. That one song kind of horrified me, actually. And I'm not against Taylor at all. It's just not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
JHD, no.
He's not
Lucky
wrong.
I got. Well, no, he is wrong. And y'all East Coasters can be. It's fine. Everything's not about y'all. Just so you know. Okay.
Fair.
Just wanted to put that out there. So speaking, and since it's not always about us, Doug, I'm going to let you do the honors here because you are
person you booked. So we are getting ready to have on Rachel Beerkowski, Certified Cicerone, co-founder of Beer Babes Family. I found her on TikTok, which I messaged her on there, and she was like, "I'm not on here much," and I just happened to catch her on there somehow. And then
plus one.
Yep. So that was good, and yeah, I'm super looking forward to having her on to talk about her beer journey, and she does beer history. Like, this is gonna be great. So why don't we bring her on? Let's go. Oh, you want me to do it? I see. You want me to do all the work. Hey, Rachel.
Hello, Greg and Doug. Good to see you.
Yeah, you as well.
Nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah. What's in your glass? That's the first question we have to ask. What are you drinking?
What's in my glass? What's in my glass is a West Coast. There we go. A West Coast style IPA from the brewery I work for, Bone Haus.
Bone Haus.
Fountain Hills, Arizona.
Oh, yep. Wow. Look at that can art, dog. Look at that shit.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of can art. So
we're pretty serious about our can art at Bone Haus. There's a hidden number 13 in every label. And then, and then on the side of the label, there is a story. And we can talk about what Bone Haus's overall story is, but
yeah. Oh yeah. Real quick, looks like a Supreme movie, Doug.
Okay.
Hi, Manny.
Manny, that's our guy.
Hi, Manny.
Oh, look. Aloe's here.
Oh,
yeah. That's our guy.
Going on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Y'all need to catch her and Aloe on the replay from last week. Okay. All right. Well, we'll get Rachel to tell us all about that soon here. Doug, you first, buddy.
All right, so let's talk a bit about how, well, I mean, you're at Cicerone, so like there's a journey there, but like, you know, as usual, a lot of folks will ask where you start. How did you just like, all of us have to start somewhere. So where did you start with beer, and what made you really decide, hey, I really want to go this avenue?
So it's kind of a long story, which I guess for most things in most people's lives, they are kind of a little bit long and winding.
Sure.
So my journey in beer began in 2018. I filed for divorce, and I knew that I was going to need a second job. And I knew that it would have to be at night after my day job. Mm-hmm. And I knew I didn't want to wait tables. And I knew that I liked beer. And I was like, let's see if I can get a job at a brewery. And I made a beer-centric resume, and I sent it to every brewery in the greater Phoenix Valley. So I live in Phoenix, Arizona. And the metropolitan area of Phoenix here, Phoenicians call it the Valley.
The Phoenicians.
The Phoenicians, yes. And at the time, there was maybe 20, 25-ish or so. I don't quite remember exactly how many. And the only brewery that responded to me was the one in my hometown, Bone Haus. They knew me from drinking. You know, I would go and I would drink there. And the owner just pretty much responded to my email and said, yes, you're hired. Come on in. We'll talk about when you can start.
Nice.
So then I started working at Bone Haus, and I was just a beer consumer. I never really thought much about it. I didn't really start exploring beer a whole lot until I started working in the industry. And my background academically is in history and archaeology. And so beer was always a big part of ancient civilizations. My graduate degree is in Egyptology specifically. And so, of course, the ancient Egyptians were profound influencers when it comes to beer in the ancient world. But that was never my interest. And so when I got into the beer industry, I started thinking more about that sort of stuff. And then I learned about the Cicerone program, and I am a huge nerd. And so I was like, well, if I can like really dive deep into this, yes, please, let's do it. And from there, it was just like, this is the best thing ever. So
I can see how the history thing would like kind of compel you to do that stuff, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
what are you doing there, Greg? You have a flashlight.
He has a flashlight.
I thought he was solving a mystery or something.
I'm reading my can, y'all. Leave me alone. Damn it.
Even the glasses on at this point.
Leave me alone, damn it. I was listening. I was getting my second beer actually. I don't know. I'll jump in real quick and tell y'all about it because I think it's pretty fun. It's a new Glarus, which everybody knows for sure. Doug, it's a Imperial Rattler.
What?
We're both like, what? That's why I was reading it. I knew y'all were gonna ask. So let's do it here real quick. Mighty Citrus Flex is powered by 8.5, Doug. Brewmaster Dan harnessed a fierce grapefruit tropical blast with proprietary Pilsner malt, Yakima, and New Zealand experimental hops, y'all. Yeah, it's a brawny brew. So I had my first sip. I have another one here. So citrusy for sure. Get JHG out of my anyway. Citrusy for sure. A nice light drinker for 8.5. It's perfect for this time of year, but Rachel, it has some body to it. Like Rattlers are generally thin, I think, right? They're not really thick beers or mouthfeel thick. This has a thick mouthfeel to it. So it has there's a little bit of umph there, but it's definitely more just citrus and citrus forward. It reminds me of like a citrus forward, like a bigger mouthfeel Kolsch. It is very, very nice. But that citrus flavor is there, but it's not trying to act like it's 8.5, which is dangerous, as we all know. So this is very, very this is excellent, Doug. This is excellent. Came out recently. I'm their new Glarus. This is one of those that, anytime they have anything new, you buy it and just, deal with it. Like you don't ever question buying any kind of a new Glarus brew. At least we don't out here.
They knock it out of the park every time for sure.
Yeah, they're just excellent. They're just excellent. Excellent people, excellent systems, excellent brewery. I mean, it's just, Rachel, we'll get into it later. There's a lot of breweries and we all want them to be good, but that is not true. So New Glarus is one of them. They're amazing. So with that being said, Doug, unless you had a follow-up, I just, so I didn't hear the part, Rachel, where I heard I'm a geek, needed a job, jumped in a brewery, started to love it. So where does that love go? How does that get you to the Cicerone thing? Because I'm an aspiring Cicerone myself. I'm level 1, but I'm actually still studying for the advanced. And when I feel that I'm ready for the advanced, I'm going to go and do the Cicerone. Unless I take it one time a year, and that one time a year, Doug, is the one time that I go to Pittsburgh, that the Cicerone program comes to Madison. If I don't do that test, I have to go to Chicago. So Chicago's like 4 or 3 hours away. So I'm going to make sure that I know that material. So I'm not going to Chicago to fail a test to come all the way back home to Madison. So I'm really, so I understand the journey that you've taken if you're going even further, but I understand you got to learn, you got to know a lot of stuff about beer to be a Cicerone. So it's not just something that you're like, oh, I want to be a Cicerone and I'll just be it. You know what I mean? So there has to be an intentionality is what I'm saying. So where did that come from as far as, your beer story arc, if I can say?
Well, so I was always really good in school. And I like the academic challenge of things, and it just seemed really fun. And when I got into it, it was extremely fun. And that's when I started kind of branching out and trying to develop something unique that I can provide for the beer consumer, either behind the bar when I'm serving someone, or out in the world, like with the beer schools that I teach all over the place. And so I think me teaching people and being excited about beer and about teaching people about beer really is what made me super passionate about it, outside of just simply being an uber nerd and wanting to learn as much as I can about something that I like and that I enjoy. Then it sort of became, how can I help other people get as excited as I do about beer?
I could so relate to that. I could so relate to that.
Because
because I like to call myself a beer educator too. You gonna say?
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, the average beer consumer, they majority of the time don't know a whole lot about beer. There's beer enthusiasts, which is great. For me, that's just somebody that really likes beer. That's not somebody that knows something about beer. So I would say that having average beer drinker folks come into the brewery and talk with me, if I can teach them something about the style that they like, that maybe they didn't know how to communicate before, maybe they didn't quite understand what it was before, if they can go out into the world and be a better beer consumer for themselves and for also the staff of which is going to serve them, that's a big win for me at the end of the day.
Excellent. Doug, you want to let's catch up here before we get to the next question.
Where the Assyrians at? They're far away from me right now, yes, but very important for beer too.
Yeah, Alice says he mentioned to Rachel about styles that are questionable as Imperials. Is this one, Aloe? Do you think that Imperial Rattler is that off limits there, Aloe? Just want to know. Imperial Rattler should hereby known as Rattler is
Rattlerissimo.
Yeah, I thought we were over 10,000. Daniel, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. To be back down to 9,800. Yeah. I think it's an oxymoron. Yeah. Okay.
I would agree. A Rattler is a style that is, the style is being a fruit forward low ABV beer. I mean, here in the States, we don't abide by any sort of guidelines. I like to say that us Americans do whatever the fuck we want when it comes to beer, and we do.
Yep.
Perfect example. An Imperial Rattler is like, what is going on?
Yeah, and it's good too. That's the the crazy thing about it.
And that's the thing. What you say, Doug? If the beer is good, people will drink it, and they don't care.
Right.
They don't care.
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, both Rachel and I we heard Imperial Rattler, both like really, like I was really puzzled. I was like, "What? Did I hear that right?" Make sure my headphones are on there.
yeah, and that's what I said too, because the lady loves a little backstory here, Rachel. The lady loves THC seltzers in the house. So now she has a place to where she could buy a whole case, Doug, at a time. Wow. She gets a discount. She knows the guy at the beer store. And it's funny because she's not a beer drinker. But I'm like, you're more friends with the beer guy than I am. Wow. So anyway, she was like, do you need anything? And I was like, usually, sometimes it says yes, sometimes no. But I saw that they had this Imperial Rattler. I was like, oh, I need the Imperial Rattler, of course. So what I love about this too, Rachel, real quick, before we get into more about you, I love that this came in 4 of these little cans in a pack. I'm starting to love how craft beer, especially after the pandemic, they're really, really more, I think, conscious of how they're packaging things. Remember, we went through the bomber age where, you had to buy a bomber thing and then you had to almost commit to that bomber. You know what I mean? In order to, so then sometimes that will get pushed off unless you got friends like Doug or beer friends that you could share. So now at least I know New Glarus is, and I've seen a bunch of other breweries do, have these little smaller cans, smaller. Some are getting bigger, but some smaller 4-can things. And I'm starting to really like that because I don't really. I love beer, Rachel, but I don't drink a lot of it, if that makes sense. And people look at me like, what? Because, you could probably talk about this too, Rachel. People think that if you're a beer expert, that automatically equals alcoholic to some people. And it's just like, no. So I don't know if you wanted to talk about where craft beer is kind of going, and then we'll get back to your story. But as far as like, presenting them and canning and the different, we're starting to see these big tall cans too. What is it, 19.2s? And you'd be able to get them in singles. So I've seen like Zombie Dust and that now, which is nice because then if I want a Zombie Dust, I can just grab one big can and have it. So I don't know if you wanted to speak to that, where the industry is maybe going and what's going on with that. And then Doug, you got the next follow, buddy.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I'm not an expert person to talk about industry stuff per se, as far as packaging and things like that go. Perhaps more style trends. What I notice working behind the bar and also being out in the world, I feel a little more confident talking about that. But yeah, I think what I've been noticing, at least here in Phoenix, is the IPA, the haze craze is slowly, I'm not saying that it's diminishing a whole lot, but people's palates are changing. So while IPAs are still super popular, people are kind of looking for something a little bit different. I think they're getting a little bit bored. They're getting a little bit burned out. I'm drinking a West Coast IPA today because it's so crisp, it's so clean, it's so dry, it's so wonderful that it's so different from the hazies that we've been drinking the last 5-10 years.
Hazies and juicies and
yeah. And I mean, I know plenty of people that's all they want, that's all that they're gonna drink, and that's fine. Just there's all kinds of folks that only drink one style of beer, but I think us Americans are kind of leaning more into being intrigued by the more traditional styles of beer. Pilsners, German style lagers, English pub ales, porters, things like that have been around for forever, but that haven't been popular in the craft beer industry per se.
That's a good assessment. I've been seeing a lot more that are bring a lot more classic styles, beer that tastes like beer, whatever, how people say it. But yeah.
Beer flavored beer. Yeah. I've been talking about that a lot lately. Yep.
So you were talking about bringing something to the beer community that is a little unique and different. Does that mean that that's where the genesis for Beer Babes family came into play? Is that where that came into play?
No. That is totally different. Yeah. Me wanting to offer something to the beer community was creating Brews with Beerkowski and creating beer school and sort of outlines and things like that that I can repeat and use over and over to help educate folks that want to learn about beer.
And the link that Greg's displaying down there, is that where you can go and do the beer school and all that stuff? Is that where you can go to do that, or is that a specific thing elsewhere?
So Beer School is an in-person event that I host. For the most part, it's at Bone Haus, the second Tuesday of every month. I do get hired out for private beer schools too, for private events. And then tap rooms and other places hire me as well to come and do beer school events at their location too. So yeah, it's really open-ended. And then I do small like sessions of beer school on social media too. But that of course doesn't involve tasting beer. It's more just beer history stuff. So,
Yeah, it reminds me a bit, Greg, when we had Mallory O'Meara on. She was talking about her book. Was it
Girly drinks.
Girly Drinks? And she was talking about the history of women and alcohol. So she wrote a whole book about that, and that was super interesting.
That.
Yeah, she's. You were talking about being a nerd. She's just in that same vein. She read 700 books for research for that book.
Amazing.
Like we were both just our eyes are 700 books. But that book is pretty interesting because it's not just about beer, but it's about liquor and scotch and just all kinds of different things.
Sure. And that's stuff that I don't know much about, so that's really interesting for me.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I have that somewhere around here. I'm not sure if I gave that to my sister-in-law or not, but yeah, that's what it reminded me of. So
working on it.
Yeah. At any rate, so I kind of jumped the gun with the Beer Babes family. Then I apologize.
Right.
I thought that's where we were segueing, and I completely missed your cue.
That's
so there's the book.
Very cool. I'm gonna buy that on Amazon later when we get finished tonight.
Yeah. So, and it's a James Beard Award winner, so that's no small feat to be in that sort of vein. So
yeah, it's a fun read. She weaves different stories into each story, and it's really nice. It's fun. You'll get through it real fast, actually, too.
Yeah.
Good times.
Cool.
Girly Drink Show. Shout out.
Yep.
Very
so
cool.
yeah.
3 years ago we had her on. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So Doug, I have a follow-up. If you it sounds like you do actually, so you can go.
Okay, so actually before follow-up, I'm going to do second beer quick. Apologies. I'll do it really fast. So as I said, my theme for
wow.
So my second beer is, as I said, my theme tonight, unintentionally, I grabbed 3 beers and my theme is dessert. So this is the Diner Pie series from Mortalis Brewing.
Okay.
So this is mixed berry pie. An ale with blackberry, raspberry, vanilla, coconut, and granola.
Ooh. Is there lactose in that too?
They do not say that.
That's a Doug special.
Yeah, if somebody makes a beer with 50 adjuncts, I'm going to try it because I want to see how it works.
You don't like
the
that?
The more adjuncts, the better. The more. I don't care. I just make fun of him for it. That's it.
Oh my goodness! Look at the color of this.
If I was there, I'd be like, give me a hit. So I'm not.
Look at that thing.
That's a pretty lady.
Whoa! Let's see that. Ooh!
It poured super thick too. So this is 7%. So
it's a juice box.
Yeah,
literally a juice box. But
yeah, that's a juice box for sure.
I couldn't tell where that was going by your face. I was like, does he like it or not? I don't know.
It's very refreshing, but the blackberries are just
tart,
like smashing you in the face. Here I am.
Smack you in the face.
Yeah, and I get other things like a little hint of vanilla. There's blackberry and raspberries, and both of those can be in that same vein. I get no coconut, no granola out of it, but you can see I don't know if you can see the coating on the glass from me pouring it. It's getting almost so that poured nice and thick. So
thick with
Rachel. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Rachel.
I said thick with 3 C's. THICCC.
Yes. Thick. Yes, or THIQUE. Yeah. But Rachel it's literally, so I make fun of Doug for that, and that's cool. But it's really literally though, that beer is probably the reason why I love to educate people about beer, and probably why you like to, because that's a beer that doesn't taste like beer. And I don't think people understand that there are beers that don't taste like beer. Sure. And I think I love creeks. I love them. I don't like cherries in anything else in my life. You can keep your cherries and you can put them over there. I want nothing to do with cherries. I don't really even like the flavor, but I love creeks. I love that fermented, sour, kind of cherry taste. So While I sometimes make fun of Doug for it, I absolutely appreciate those beers because those are beers that are approachable to some people and not all. And beer that tastes like beer isn't approachable to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying, Rachel? So like the vastness of beer is just the amazing part about it.
Well, yeah, the thing is, if somebody says that they don't like beer, that just means that they haven't found the one for them yet. I mean, there are so many different styles that there is absolutely a beer for every single person out there. Like, that's the end of the story. Like, we cover everybody. If you're celiac, big deal. We can put clarifiers in there and we can get rid of all that gluten. No problem. If you don't like carbonation, guess what? You can have a nitro beer and it won't hurt your tummy like some, super carbonated, Belgian Tripel or something would. Like, the flavor profiles are literally, they cover the entire spectrum. So it just, yes, there is a beer for everyone. And there's that gateway beer for everybody too. Everyone has a different gateway beer where they're like, I tried this one beer this one time and it was so good that I had to try more.
Yeah. Excellent. Doug, do you have a follow-up or I can go?
I was just gonna say that Daniel said, of course it's Mortalis. Mortalis makes a lot of weird shit. So they are in upstate New York, probably about hour and 45 minutes from where I am, and they make some really great stouts, but they also make oddball stuff. And this apparently was a series. I'd never heard of it, but I'm gonna have to look for more of these. I just happened to see it, and it was like a cool, like retro can. And like I said, can art matters to me. So yeah, it is definitely a thick boy, though. Like I just poured the last of it out. It was like blah, 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 coming out of the can.
You get your daily intake of fruit with that beer.
Yeah, definitely. Look at it. Even still has bubbles on the top of it for me pouring
it. So, Rachel, real quick, the timeline again. I'm kind of missing it. How long have you been embedded in the Arizona craft beer scene?
Since 2018.
2018. So a good 6 years. Arizona, as someone who travels for beer, knows a lot about national beer, the different regions, the cities. I've been to a bunch of cities. Hopefully traveling to a bunch more. Arizona does not ever pop off to me as a craft beer place. You probably have heard this. I've been to Arizona. I've lived there a couple months. I actually, I really like it. Actually, I love that it's vast. I don't think people understand, if you've never been in Arizona, that Arizona is a vast place as far as different climates. You got the mountains, you got the desert, you have somewhere in between actually. And it's really fun and interesting. The differences between Tucson and Phoenix are kind of stark, or can feel that way. Tucson's great. I love Tucson.
Tucson's wonderful.
But excuse me?
I said Tucson's wonderful. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So can you give us a little overview of just where how's the scene in Arizona? Maybe you can highlight some of the cities, maybe even outside of Tucson or Phoenix that people don't know about. Is Flagstaff big with beer? Because I know Flagstaff. And just tell us a little bit about the Arizona scene, because I kind of feel that it might be underrated because it doesn't get the popularity that a Portland, Maine, or a Portland, Oregon, or Chicago or San Diego get. You know what I mean? Like those are the cities that get a lot of attention. Asheville, North Carolina, New York City, the DC area. All these areas get big pub when it comes to come here. We have craft beer and all that. No one ever says anything about Arizona. So I want to give you this kind of platform to talk about Arizona and tell everybody why Arizona is worthy as far as craft beer goes.
Sure. So I believe, and I might be misquoting this, but I believe there is over 125 breweries throughout the entire state. Certainly the Phoenix Valley is the most populated area, so there's obviously the most breweries there. But then there's three big cities in Arizona. So there's Flagstaff, which is in the north, which is kind of close to the Grand Canyon-ish. Then there's Phoenix kind of in the middle, and then there's Tucson down south. So those are the 3 cities that have the most breweries. But then there are, of course, smaller areas that have also really incredible folks brewing really, really good stuff. So I think my argument for Arizona is going to be that at the World Beer Cup, just a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there were like 5 or 6 Arizona breweries that brought home medals. So we certainly know what the fuck we're doing. And there is really good beer here. I would say right now the styles that are super popular. So if you were to go to any brewery, you would probably see one or all of these 3 styles. Would be some sort of Pilsner or like German-ish lager. Certainly some sort of hazy. And then probably some sort of sour style of beer too. There are certainly breweries that are expanding outside of those realms. There are some places that are focusing only on like traditional German English styles. Some places are known for farmhouses, saisons, really weird, funky, sour styles. But yeah, I think that we do have pretty good beer here. And it's okay that people aren't talking about us because we drink it all ourselves. So
yeah, and I bet you the Pilsner is a throw towards y'all's climate. You know what I mean? Like y'all, it's normally Arizona's seen as a place that's warmer than most of America, and it probably is for the most part. So that Pilsner and that lager, you know what I mean? Like those are the the type of beers that you want on a on a hot day. Those really resonate as opposed to a stout, which I know you could probably drink on a hot day. I can, but it's not everybody's thing, if that makes sense. So that Pilsner makes sense. And then, the sours make sense to me too. Just because again, they're light drinky, light drinkers and, really refreshing, especially when it's hot and everything too. So, Arizona's fun. Flagstaff. I mean, the differences between Flagstaff and Tucson are just amazing. And you have all that in one state. Yeah, it's literally different worlds. Yeah. I was blown away. That was the thing that I took when I lived in Arizona for 6 months. Lady had a traveling nurse job, so we were in Tucson. But we traveled the whole state. Just making sure we got into got all the touristy things done.
Yeah. There's so much to see. Oh my God.
There's so much to see. So real quick, and then we'll give Doug follow up. But so if there's one city that I could go to in Arizona to drink beer out of all of them, tell me which one what's the one I really should hit? Phoenix?
Well, I mean, if you want to get the most bang for your buck, I mean, I guess Phoenix, because we've got a lot of stuff here. However, the Phoenix Valley, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, what Phoenicians call like the metropolitan area, it is 100 miles wide. So yes, it is absolutely massive. So that area is the Phoenix Valley proper. So it literally takes you an hour to get across the Phoenix Valley. So where I live in Fountain Hills is like the far East Valley. And then the far West Valley would be like cities like Glendale or Surprise. And it literally takes me an hour to get there. My favorite place to go drink beer in the Phoenix metropolitan area is actually in downtown Mesa. So recently, within the last 10 or so years, they've really revamped that area, and it's become kind of like a beer and foodie area. And it's really nice because the light rail, so public transportation, goes there from Central Phoenix, and everything that you could ever want is within like 3 square blocks. So there's like 6 or 7 different breweries or tap room establishments there, and then tons of incredible local food. So if I am going out for a night to drink beer, that's where I'm going.
Wow. Okay, I'm trying to pull up Mesa here. Okay, so let's do this actually. Yeah. Sure. Let's do that. Yeah. All right. So,
You're doing the thing I do where you talk to yourself while you're doing something, because I do that all the time.
yeah,
Yeah, blah blah blah
yeah.
blah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, only on stream live though, Doug. I don't do it
yeah,
personally.
yeah.
Don't front. No. So, oh yeah. So, also look, I wasn't familiar where exactly Mesa is, but you did say that is in the Phoenix proper there. So it's right next
Way
to
down the
Phoenix.
bottom.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so I can fly into Phoenix and then head over to Mesa. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, you can be there in 15, 20 minutes. Yep.
All right. Good times. What's up? Oh, so here's the April that we're talking about. Hi, April.
Hi,
She
April.
is- yeah, she's the founder and brewer of the community out of South Carolina. So
Very cool.
yeah. So Doug, you have a we're talking Phoenix beer, but we're ready to segue to the big thing. Not that Rachel's things isn't big, but I think Beer Babes, I don't know.
Yeah, let's do
The
that.
Beer
Let's
Babes
talk about it.
family,
Yeah,
it just feels really huge, actually.
yeah. I mean, when you look at it
So-
online, it seems like it's got a pretty big group of folks. So why don't we talk about that, Rachel? Because that really fascinated me. So yeah.
Sure. So I guess I'll start with how we started,
Mhm.
because everyone's interested in how things come to be. So the Beer Babes family was a product of COVID. So I was very happily drunk scrolling one night during COVID. I had been laid off from my day job, not the brewery, but my day job. And so I had all this wonderful spare time on my hands. And because I was working at the brewery, I was like, well, I'm going to really start focusing on beer stuff. So I did. And I started really kind of trying to hone in on my Instagram audience and who's interested in beer and what I should talk about and all that sort of stuff. And so I was scrolling, and just on my feed, I came across a photograph of another woman with a beer in a historic place in the city of Montreal. And I read her post and I clicked on her profile and I scrolled through all her stuff, and I was like, this is pretty fucking cool. Like, she consistently was talking about women in beer, history, and the city of Montreal where she lives. And Montreal is one of my most favorite cities in the whole world. It's wonderful. So I sent her a message. I said, hey, you're cool. Can we be friends, essentially? And that is now my business partner, Roxy. So she's the other founder of the Beer Babes. It's the two of us. And after we started talking a little bit, she invited me to be a part of an interaction group on Facebook. So at this time, I didn't really have any sort of following. I was trying to navigate what Instagram is and how it works and all of that. And she suggested I, be a part of this to help grow my audience. And so I said, yeah, sure, of course. So for those who don't know, an interaction or an engagement group, those are kind of synonyms, is where a bunch of people come together in a group message on Instagram, and you essentially vow to each other that anytime you make a post, let us know. We will all go comment and like it and share it. And then that helps generate the algorithm to make your profile more desirable. It does work. So we had the idea to start one that was only women focused, women in beer. And we just thought, for fun, like, let's just call it the Beer Babes, no big deal. It was nothing. It was just, at that time, it was 20 women that were interested in beer and were posting about beer consistently on Instagram. And we started using the hashtag Beer Babes Family. And eventually that kind of started revving up a little bit. Like, people were asking us, what is the Beer Babes family? Like, what is going on here? And it wasn't anything. We were just like, well, it's nothing. We're just a bunch of women that drink beer and we post about it. And that's it. We're the Beer Babes family. So then people outside of this engagement group started using that hashtag too. So other women that weren't in, because at this time on Instagram, you could only have 20 people per group chat. Now there's no limit. But back then there was a limit of 20 people. So we couldn't technically add anyone else. You know what I mean? So other women started using the hashtag just because they wanted to. And that kind of took off. And then a home brewer here in Cave Creek, Arizona, which is about a 45-minute drive from me, he reached out and he said, hey, I would love to brew a beer for you guys. And you can sell the beer, and donate the proceeds to whatever charity you see fit. So he brewed a bunch of beer, and we took donations, and we donated to the Pink Boots Society because that made sense to us at the time.
Right.
And then Roxy and I kind of got to thinking, and we were like, well, this is an interesting idea. How can we make something out of this, that's different? And so I was in the beer industry, Roxy was in the beer industry, and Pink Boots is education focused, right? They give scholarships to women that are wanting to progress and learn about brewing or, whatever. And we, being in the beer industry, thought, well, they've got education covered. That's great. Let's help women that are out of school, that are needing help once they're in the beer business, because we were being very business focused being in the industry. And so that's when we decided to make the Beer Babes family a real nonprofit organization in the United States and in Canada.
Okay, so if it's nonprofit, like I know you guys, I see how you've done a bunch of collabs and like releases and beer releases. I'd say collabs, maybe that's not the proper term.
It is, yep.
But just so do you determine to donate profits from that, or is that part of how you help with a nonprofit? Like my wife works for a nonprofit, so I understand like you need money to keep the lights on to do things, but the most of it is you try to just break even as kind of the goal at the nonprofit level, just make sure you break even. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. How does that work for you guys in this context?
Yeah, so Roxy and I both have full-time day jobs. So the Beer Babes family does not employ us. Anyone that is associated with us, it's all volunteer based. And the way that we raise money mostly is through collaborations with breweries like you're seeing right now on the screen. So these are folks that have worked with us before. Some of them have worked with us for 3 years in a row now, or it will be 3 years in a row this year. And we do a collaboration brew with them. Each collaboration is called Babe Brew. That is our brand of beer. So this is the 2024 label for Babe Brew. Yep, there it is. And so they brew a beer for us, and then they sell that beer. And then a portion of the proceeds from the sales of that beer, usually $1 a pint, sometimes less, depending on the size of the brewery, is donated to the Beer Babes family. And we put that money into our business grant fund. And then we gift one business grant per year to a woman in the beer industry who is trying to improve her beer business.
That's pretty awesome. Like, also the label's really cool. Like, I love the inclusivity of all the different, obviously the different colors of hands. That the thing is, that sort of representation matters, and I don't think people realize it. Sometimes it's something that simple, and that's pretty awesome. Like, and do people have to apply for these particular grants, right? Like, or do you guys just go, oh, but we like that person, we'll go do it. So it's an application process.
Yep. So on our website, there is a on the top menu bar, there's something that says grants. So there is a formal application that you need to submit, and I think on there it will go to it is a Google document. So you have to have a written formal application, and then we also ask you to send in a video as well. And then the Beer Babes family board at the end of the year, so it says applications there are due November 1st. So then in the month of November, we go through everything. We view all the videos, we read everything, and then we will select 3 applicants from that pool of people to then do a Zoom interview with the entire board. And then after that, those Zoom interviews, then we will make a decision.
Hey guys.
April,
Hey, April
that's for
Dove.
you. That's
April
what I was thinking.
Dove.
Like this sounds like something April, because April's
April
fairly
Dove.
early on.
Yeah, you can apply.
April Dove. Let's
Applications
go.
are open all year round.
Go.
The due date for 2024 is November 1. So, yeah, it's always open.
Let's
You just
go,
have
April.
to be,
Let's do this.
the only qualifications that you need is to be a woman or somebody who identifies as a woman that is working for an alcohol establishment, an alcohol business. We don't just deal with beer. Like if you work for a cidery or a meadery, that's totally fine. And you need to be trying to actively improve that business. So you have to tell us what you need, why you need it, how you're going to use the funds that we give you, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you can just go to my website and you can send me an email, or go to the Beer Babes website and send an email, and we can chat.
So there's that. The links there, y'all. The bottom. You could also get it here too. But this is the direct link here that we have. So yes, maybe we made a connection here, Doug. That would be excellent. I think we did actually. We'll see if that, that's great. That's great. So this is the grant page, y'all. So we'll get back to that in a second. We have, I believe, 2 beers being cracked open. So we'll go, of course, ladies first. Yeah, and that looks like a beer. That looks like the Beer Babes 2024 collab. Looks like.
Yeah. So I have not had this beer yet.
Oh.
So this is. So I was recently in Canada. I was in Winnipeg for a release last month, and I met the woman that brewed this beer for us for the first time. Oh, and I was able to get some cans from her, and I brought them home. So this is by Something in the Water out of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a lemon blueberry wheat. So, yeah.
Look at that.
The color is really nice. It's hard to see, but it's got a really nice, like, pink peachy hue to it. So
yeah, that blueberry coming in there to get that color, and that looks nice.
Excited. I'm smelling more of the lemon on the nose than the blueberry.
Kind of makes sense.
Lemony sweetness, kind of like a lemon, like dessert, like shoot, I don't know what desserts are called. I'm not a huge sweet tooth, but like one of those like lemon bars. I think that's kind of what it smells like.
Lemon bars are fun.
Yeah, I love lemon bars.
All right. It's really nice and light. It doesn't have the body of a wheat beer that I would think of. But I think that's okay. I think that's really nice. There's a little bit of tartness that's coming in from the blueberry. The lemon is way more on the aroma than it is on the flavor. And the color is
awesome.
That color is nice. Yep.
Yeah.
I think though, like blueberry, if you use actual blueberries, I don't think the scent is as prominent if you use like the fake blueberry. Like the fake blueberry is like freaking just ugh. Anyway.
Cough syrup.
Yeah, no thanks. So I handed off that smoothie beer.
You did?
Yeah, I was like, I handed it off to my son's boyfriend. My son's boyfriend loves that stuff. I was like, here, you drink this because I'm not drinking that shit. And like I said, it wasn't for me. What they were doing tasted like what they accomplished, what they were trying to do with the taste, which was not to my palate. So
sure.
And we won't name that beer.
Yeah. So what I grabbed instead was something chocolate after midnight, a chocolate porter from Stoneyard.
Look at that cute little guy.
It's like a gremlin. Now, wait, ready?
Oh, I like that side better.
After
Yeah.
midnight?
Yeah. Well, it's a gremlin take. Like, you know.
No, I know. I got it. I got it.
So,
That's
generally speaking, Stoneyard is an upstate New York brewery that is sort of mediocre, kind of usually not my thing. So we'll see how this goes. But
so
sort of keeps in the dessert realm. So we're gonna see how this is. As usual with my aggressive pour, apologies on that, but
No, that's good.
boy,
Wow.
nice and roasty on the nose.
Mm.
Ooh, that's a much better one for me. So the chocolate's nice. The roast is what takes it. Really good roasty porters. I prefer my porters that way with a nice little sweet hint of chocolate. Maybe more than a hint, but man, that's just like a really solid beer. So cheers. Winner. Like the other one was just too thick for my taste buds. My taste buds were not like enjoying that very much. So it's one of those things where you can have a beer and go, I know what you were trying to do, and you did exactly what you were trying to do. That is just not something I want to have.
Sure. Yeah, you want a 5-ounce taster of that. You don't want a whole pint of it.
Yeah, if I would have had a little pour of that, I'd be like, oh, cool, like great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just a bit too much for my taste. But this is a much more up my alley sort of thing. So, cheers.
So, Doug, yeah, cheers, because I'm about to say what you just said. So, Doug, this should be very familiar to you because you gave me this one. I'm clearing out my fridge, and Doug gave this to me last August. So, Doug,
Caramel pumpkin.
Wow.
I am really curious to see how the caramel plays in that now.
So, Doug, it says Best Buy 7/18/25.
Really interesting.
So you aged it. That's good. I'm excited to hear.
Yeah, look, I ain't lying. Look at that.
I believe you.
7/18. All right, so Doug, I don't know what to do with this one. So
a pumpkin beer in May.
I love
on the nose, it's all caramel. On the nose, it smells like a caramel twist or whatever. It's all caramel. It's caramel forward. I don't get any pumpkin at all, Doug. If there's pumpkin here, it's muted by the overwhelming caramel taste. This tastes like a caramel sundae. Like how intense caramel. It's really, really intense caramel, Doug. Yeah, this is one that I'm cool with, like a little taste there.
Yep.
I'm out. It's not, I wouldn't say it's bad, and if you like caramel, you would love this. But
yeah. You said you love pumpkin beers, Rachel?
I do. Yes. I love.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I just love the seasonality of them. I love anything seasonal.
Yeah, I wish there was more pumpkin in this.
Yeah.
I think the pumpkin might have dropped out, and then the caramel's taking that place, if that makes sense. I would suspect that when it first came out, the pumpkin would have been like balancing the the caramel taste. It reminds me, Rachel, of when you have a double IPA and the hops drop out, and then you're left with this big malt forward beer, right? When it should be
clearly Rachel's
beer.
favorite.
You know what I'm saying, Rachel. You know exactly what I'm saying. Like when that, what I mean, because you need all that malt to balance all the hops that you're throwing into that double. So then, that's what I feel is going on here. So it's like a caramel forward kind of thing. Doug likes this one, right? Doug, you said you liked this one, right?
I said it was okay. Pumpkin is one of the perennially good pumpkin beers in our area.
Yeah.
I will say their Warlock beer is better because it has coffee in it. Warlock is awesome.
Yeah.
And I will say when I had that caramel pumpkin when it was fresh, the caramel was still super prevalent and almost overtook the pumpkin even fresh.
Gotcha.
So now, like I could see how that was. I thought that usually though, like that sort of thing, like the the pumpkin you think would have a stronger life in that than the caramel, but
yeah, but
what do
it
I know?
also sounds like you're talking about you said that the caramel was already kind of overpowering it when a pumpkin was there. So I feel that the pumpkin fell out because I'm not really tasting it that much. So interesting. Also, again, yeah, I saw that it said 2025, Rachel. So I'm like, oh, this is one. You know how the beer fridge goes, Rachel. You're a beer person, so you know how sometimes you buy all this beer, and then sometimes you're like, man, I got to drink those IPAs. So the IPAs come to the front, basically, and then like the lagers kind of go in the back, and like the stouts kind of hang out in the back because you're like, I'll get to that stout. It's cool. It's an imperial. You know what I mean? It's a bourbon barrel. I can wait. So like, there's like a hierarchy of like, when you have a lot of beer in your beer fridge. My beer fridge is actually getting a little thin, Doug.
Oh well,
it won't
be come August, because I'll see you in August, and you will get a shit
No.
ton of beer as I usually give you.
I'll send you some Arizona beers.
Man.
Oh, look at that.
We
never turned that down, do we, Doug?
Yeah, I'm all about tradesies. I love tradesies.
All
Same.
right.
I send lots of beer because I love that shit. I like sharing beer. I mean, I don't know if you're of that mind where like I think beer's meant to be shared. I think that's the fun part of it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is the whole goddamn point.
Mm-hmm.
Community and civilization and coming together. Yes, that has been beer's whole life.
Absolutely. And one of the things that Doug and I have come to, we weren't always this way, especially even on the stream. We've been doing this for now, going on 4 years now. We haven't always been this way, but Doug and I have definitely, and I'm maybe more than Doug, but like, I don't feel that I have to finish all my beers, Rachel, ever. I used to always feel that I had to finish it. I bought it, I finished it, I'm wasting it, blah, blah, blah. And now, Doug and I, we went through some health problems within the past 4 years together, literally together at some point.
Literally within a month of each other.
Literally together.
That's good to have, that someone you can lean on, right?
Absolutely. And Doug's in New York and I'm in Wisconsin, so we only get to hang out really in real life very few times, but we were together in that. But one of the things though that we've learned, and I've learned, is that like I don't have to finish my beer. I paid for it. I've compensated the brewer for their work, and now I can just sip. So a lot of times too, I found this out on social media. People still have a weird reaction to this because especially when I'm doing a lot of brewery hopping, I strive not to get a buzz, Rachel. I strive not to have my palate overwhelmed because I want to taste all the beers. I literally want to taste them all, not one, not a few. When I go into a brewery, I see 18 beers, and I'm like, I do the calculation in my head. That's 4 flights. Am I going to do 4 flights today? Am I going to do 4 flights here? And then when I do, I only drink. Sometimes I only take a sip of them, and they could be the best beers ever. And I even still get some looks from the bar staff that like, whoa, like, are you cool? Were they good? You know what I mean? Like, because I didn't finish them. So like, is this thing? And that's why I said to you at the top, or did I say it at the top, or did I say it back behind? I think I said at the top where I was like, I don't ever finish my beers, but it doesn't mean I don't enjoy them. And I'm an aspiring Cicerone, but I don't drink that much beer. The origin story of this stream, Rachel, is that I started this stream with Doug so I would drink beer, because I found myself when I was studying beer that I didn't drink beer while I was studying, because sometimes I would get distracted or catch a little buzz, and like I have ADHD, so like I think I do. I'm not diagnosed, but like I can't sit on one thing for a long time, or I just go. And beer doesn't help sometimes. So not at all.
Beer greases those wheels sometimes, Greg.
Yeah, right. But I've learned in my enjoying of beer and my journey in beer that I don't have to have a lot of beer to enjoy it. And I don't have to have a lot of beer to understand the complexities of it and to really, really enjoy it. So I don't know if you wanted to jump off to that before we get back to Babe's family, but I don't know if you had any thoughts on my little soliloquy there, but if you do, you can chime in.
No, I think you're talking like a beer judge right now. So, I mean, anyone that's ever judged beer in any sort of competition, like literally your job for the day is to taste beer. And because that's your job for the day, you can't like drink beer, you know? So you're doing these tiny little tastes and being as analytical as possible and getting as much as you can out of that beer with not drinking, you know, the full 3, 4, 5 ounce pour that you're given to judge that beer. So yeah, there is
Mhm.
definitely a skill in being able to analyze and appreciate and understand what a beer is in a very small amount of that beer. Because, like, the folks that judge the BJCP, or I'm sorry, not the BJCP, the GABF, or the World Beer Cup, and the people that are judging that are BJCP certified.
Mhm.
Like, they're there for whole days, sometimes multiple days. So to do the best job that you possibly can, you can't be getting buzzed. You can't be getting hammered because
Mhm.
you are there to provide a service for all of those brewers that have submitted that beer to the most upper echelon of brewing in the United States.
Yeah. What's up, Doug? You highlighted this?
Yeah, I just think this leads me to a question for Rachel, as you've also worked behind a bar as well. So there was a person I was talking to who is a brewer at Dovetail on Jenny Flaffen, and there was a question regarding flights and how brewers specifically perceive them. Like, as in, are they okay with flights because the glassware isn't the best glassware you can have for the beer style, because
Sure.
they're short glasses.
Yeah.
And her point was like, well, you're not getting the best beer experience.
Hmm.
And it's also extra work for bartenders because it's these little glasses and you have extra stuff. Like, as someone who has worked in that capacity, how do you see that sort of thing? Like, I I get what they're saying, but I'm also saying, if you're having people who are coming to sample your beers, so maybe they find something they like and they order an actual glass of that, maybe that's where you get the proper glassware. But how do you perceive that?
Um, well, so I hear people complain all the time about customers getting flights and how much of a pain in the ass it is for glassware. But I would say probably maybe on a busy day, 2 people get flights. So like I don't know what brewery is serving, 75 flights in 2 hours. I don't think that's real. I think people they're making that up in their head. It's not like most beer consumers come in, they know what style they like, and they're going to order a pint of that.
Yeah.
Usually, folks that are visiting a brewery for the first time, they're going to be getting a flight of beer because they're intrigued. Not always, but from my experience, that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
And um, so I don't know where people are getting the idea that there are so many flights and small glassware to wash. I honestly, that's not my personal experience.
Yeah.
All right, so sorry.
No,
What was the other part of the question?
it's just like, well, the part of the question was just like, do you see flights as a problem in that you're not getting an actual real representation of the
Glassware.
beer that's being poured?
Yeah.
Because the brewer's point was, I'm not, if you're getting like, for instance, I don't have all the glasses, but if I'm having a certain style of beer,
Mm.
if I have a glass, I'm going to pour it in the glass that's recommended by the BJCP,
Yeah.
BCJP. Sorry, I get all the acronyms
Yep,
mixed up.
yeah, you got it. Yep, that's correct.
But just like that idea of like, I want to have the beer in the optimal glassware to get the right experience with the beer. But
Yeah.
in a flight, I'm going into, personally, if I'm going into a new brewery, I'm getting a flight because I want to try an amalgam of their styles. And I'm always going to get a base style, and I'm always going to get, if they have a dark style, like I'm going to try to get a range because I
Mhm.
want to see how they do their styles.
Yes.
Specifically, if you're doing like if you're doing a pilsner or a lager, that is a base style. If you can do that right,
Mhm.
I feel like you're probably doing the other stuff right. Like,
Sure.
maybe that's an
Yes.
assumption, but to me, I feel like if you're going to do the base styles right and you're doing them right, then yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like this is all coming down to personal preference. So
Mm.
certainly glassware has wonderful, beautiful traditions, throughout the world. And most certainly glassware does affect the way in which you are going to perceive and taste that beer. Is it absolutely necessary for having a good experience in a brewery? I think probably not. Um, Again, this is something that each brewery, has to decide for themselves and what they're providing to their customers. Um, but most of the time, I think a beer consumer isn't going to care, like a general beer consumer isn't going to care what glassware their beer is served in. Now, a beer enthusiast or a Cicerone like myself, or somebody who's studying for Cicerone like Greg, when you're provided the experience of being served a beer in the correct glassware, that is really cool. And for me, that does personally elevate, your experience. But is it really changing how much you're perceiving the aromas and flavors in that beer? I don't know if it's that big of a deal. And again, going back to beer judging, they're not served beer in proper glassware. They're served beer in plastic 4-ounce cups.
Yep.
And they are judging the best beers in the entire world.
In little
Like,
plastic cups.
like objectively, they're judging the best beers in the entire world, and they can do that out of 4-ounce plastic cups. So take that for what it's worth. No, see, Aloe, I do agree with you. It certainly it absolutely elevates the experience. It makes you feel fancy when you have the right glassware that goes along with the beer. But are you necessarily perceiving, as a general beer consumer, perceiving those flavors and aromas better for the general beer consumer? Probably not, right? And the whole objective for a brewery to make money is to serve beer to the general beer consumer, right? It's a business. So
Correct.
Yeah.
April brings a brewer's perspective to this. I guess
Yes.
another point is what brewery has correct glasses for each style beer they produce, not many. And I'm sure on some level, as a brewer like April is, that could be a level of frustrating because she knows that some of her styles might be, better, in different glasses. But like you said, Rachel, there's a level of like perception there for sure. And geeks like us are going to maybe perceive it a little bit better. But respectfully, John Doe, coming to the bar with his family, or what I mean, he's got his dog or whatever. He doesn't care.
Exactly.
As long as that beer hits him, he's good. I mean, a lot of these people are still drinking respectfully beer out of cans, which is for me, again, I will never say anything unless it's like my friend Doug or somebody that I know. But like I will literally never say anything, but it's horrifying to me, Rachel. It literally horrifies me when people are just like, and they're just like, and I'm like, glass. I almost want to yell, even a pint glass, even a look, Doug and I are dirty glass crew. So even a dirty, not a beer, not dirty, but a beer dirty glass. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean.
Just pour it. Come on. Oh my God. What are you doing to me? So like that's my one thing that, as far as beer drinking, I don't care if you drink Bud Light. I don't care what you drink, but can you just pour it in the glass? Like, that's it. That's my only thing. I will never say anything to anybody, but because Doug and I, we will not, we don't drink shame people. We will food shame you. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to tonight, Rachel. So you might have to get you back to food shame you, but we will food shame a motherfucker on this stream. But we will not drink shame. Drink what you want, even if it's water, it's all good. There's that level, but and I'm not gonna drink shame any of y'all, but so y'all can't drink shame me for having this kind of oldish ale
asylum though.
Triple Nova. And the only reason I pulled this one out is because I couldn't finish that caramel thing. It was too much, Doug. I
I
couldn't do it.
understand. Hey, I
And
begged off of another beer. I totally get it.
yeah, I couldn't do it. And then the way that Rachel said "tripel" was like, I don't know.
That's fancy.
So, yeah. Well, I would go a step further and say it was sexy, Doug. I just like sometimes
That's fair.
just the
That's
way
fair.
that like yeah, just by the way she said it, and she said it with like, I don't know, Arizona accent or something. I don't even know. Whatever. It doesn't
I
matter.
think it's more like us dumb Americans that are like uncultured. We're like triple.
Well,
Right,
I mean,
right.
it
It's
depends who you talk to. So I've been scolded in the past by beer industry folks by saying tripel. They say no, it's pronounced triple. So I mean, whatever. I
No,
personally
tripel is
like
better.
Everybody knows what you're talking about when you
Right,
say it, right?
right,
sure.
right.
And
But you,
and when you say triple in, how Americans say triple, they might confuse it with like a triple IPA or something. So
yeah,
if you
Fair,
true.
fair.
or a double, if you say a double, they think it's a double IPA. Whereas if you say tripel or dubel, then they're like, oh, that's not that. That's the Belgian styles.
I
So
like it. I like it.
that
Good
I
time.
say that. I don't know. Aloe, what do you say? I know he's watching. I'm curious because I literally have been scolded by people for saying that. And I'm like,
Tripel?
oh.
No, they need to stop. The way you said it, you're like a highly carbonated Tripel, and I was like, oh, I got one of those.
Oh,
I'm gonna go get me one.
I need to put up my bow
Right.
tie and be very
Right,
One of my
right,
favorite
right.
styles.
Right.
I love
So
Belgian. I'm
you
all
got
over it.
me into this one. It's your fault. So that
Good.
you keep saying it. Yeah. Tripel. Yep.
Tripel. Okay.
Tripel. Yep.
Thank
Try,
So
or is he saying tripel? Like very try.
I think he's saying tripel. Yeah.
Sorry,
Tripel.
I was just
So
being an ass.
yeah, so this is a pretty good one, Doug. It's always been pretty good. Ale Asylum has one of the best ones in the state. The best one in the state, in my opinion, is still Super Moon. Oh my goodness, that's such a beautiful one. And then the second best one is Giant Jones, who I need to try to hook Giant Jones up with the Beer Babes family.
Let's do it.
Oh my god.
Let's do it.
Their beers are fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Let's
they're
do it.
amazing. So I think I already sent it to him, but I haven't put a personal word in. And we are working on an event here, so I will personally put a word in. I think I can say it, Doug, publicly, that I'm working with Giant Jones to do a Juneteenth marketplace on Tuesday,
Nice.
June 18th. And I already have some things booked, and I'm looking big time forward to that. So I don't have any more details than that, but I can absolutely say that I have an event coming up with Giant Jones. So I will put in a great word for you. And well, their whole organization and all that. I'll let them know and I'll send that to you. But anyway, this is a good one. A little long in the tooth, but it's great. And like I said, it's all Rachel's fault because if she wouldn't have said Tripel, a highly carbonated Tripel, I was like, you just made me thirsty. Yeah, you just made me thirsty. So
well, it makes
good
your
times,
mouth water, right? It's just
yes.
style.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite styles. I said if I wasn't Daddy Porter, I would be Daddy Tripel. So maybe we should change that. Maybe we should change it, Doug. Maybe I'm due for.
Hey, it's never too late to change your stripes, Greg.
Well, and Doug, I can't. I got my attention span means I always have to be doing something new, or I get bored. I get bored so quick, Rachel. Like Doug's lucky I haven't got bored with him, or I would have, got a new co-host. Hey, Rachel, you want a co-host? Come on now.
Sure.
We can get rid of Doug, and we can get rid of Doug.
I'll slide off.
Forever, Doug. Forever.
He's been trying to get rid of me for 4 years. I'm not that easy.
Well, look, she already has that. Whoa. She already has the beer spell on me, Doug. Like she said, Tripel and highly carbonated. And I ran to my beer fridge.
You're gonna make me go get a Tripel in a minute here because I'm almost done.
It's should. All your fault.
I'm gonna have to go and get it because I only grabbed 2 beers for tonight.
So that's all right. You go do that, and I'll do my third beer.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want to finish this one, but yes, Aloe. Yes, Tripels are just amazing, especially when they're really well done, especially when they come off as like delicate and like light and fresh. Because some of them come off a little bit heavy, I think. The lighter ones, and they're just so amazing. Yeah, always on Trip L duty. Yes, Trip L. We're gonna we ain't going back.
We're there now. We're there now. We're not going back.
We're there. Absolutely. So yeah, that was my third one, and that'll probably be my final one for tonight. But so Beer Babes Family.
Yes.
Or Babes Family.
That out.
Beer Babes Family, yeah.
Beer Babes Family. Yes. So what I was impressed with is that it seems like a lot of work. How many are in the organization? And how long have y'all been around? I missed the timeline on that. I'm sorry.
So we started our fun little Instagram engagement group in 2020 during COVID.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, but we didn't become a legal nonprofit until 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in April of 2022, we became a nonprofit in the United States. And then in December of 2022, we became a legal nonprofit in Canada.
Okay. And then, obviously you don't just poof become a nonprofit. So there was probably a year, there's probably a year before that, right? Or like 6 months or something like that, right?
Yeah, ish. I don't quite remember how long it took. But,
Daniel, you fucker.
Can people see the comments on this? They can.
Yeah, when we put it on the screen, they all see it. So yeah.
So we all look like crazy people just laughing at nothing.
No, that actually would be more fun. Is people like, why the fuck are they laughing? Like, what's going on?
Right. So how many people in an organization? Because again, it seems like a lot of work. And like I said, I'm doing one small collab with a small brewery, and I feel some days overwhelmed by just the little job that I have. So how many people are quote employed voluntarily with your organization?
Yeah, so legally we have to have 3 people on the board for each country. So there are 6 people total. So there's 3 for the United States and 3 for Canada. We have a graphic designer who does all of our can art. Janet is her name. On Instagram, she is Gumbo Mud. That's her logo right there. So she has designed all of our can labels since the beginning. She's an incredible artist. We have a consultant. His name is Ryan. He lives in Northern California. He is a professional brewery consultant, and we use him to kind of help analyze from a business perspective how the money can best be used and how our applicants say they want to use the money, and then he can kind of give us really relevant, good feedback on if that is, plausible or not. And then we have our events coordinator for the United States, Shayna, and she is at every single United States release. She helps with getting music and food trucks and kind of coordinating all of the events happenings with each Babe Brew release. So
wow.
Yeah.
So
real quick, man, I love We Heavies. Oh.
Real quick, Doug, I'm gonna Rachel, maybe you want to I don't know, I'm gonna slowly kind of go over this thing that you have here, and I just want to show Doug the can art because I know Doug loves can art.
Let's
go through this.
Please show me.
Yeah, let's go through this here. That's a cool one, Doug. I think you're gonna love this next one, Doug. Look at that.
So that's Bone Haus, yeah. So the first 3 collaborations we had were Pink Boots fundraiser collaborations. So those are all called Girl Crush. And we really loved that name, Girl Crush, for having it be our collaboration beer, but we learned that name was trademarked. So we didn't get a cease and desist or anything like that, but we did our due diligence and our research, and we saw that somebody had trademarked that name. So after we learned that, we said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. So then that's when we came up with Babe Brew. So that's the 4th. So our first Babe Brew collaboration was with my brewery, with Bone Haus. And Janet, I lied, did not do that can art. The Bone Haus artist did that artwork. But everything after that is Janet's.
Very,
stuff.
very Day of the Dead kind of thing. I love that.
Yeah,
That was
you
awesome.
got to come to the brewery. It's an experience. I'll say that.
That's great though, because breweries a lot of times are, especially the ones that have opened more recently, are very generic. Like they all sort of, forgive me, they all sort of look the same. They have the same. There's an aesthetic to it that I don't. I want something that's a little different, unique, and that's the thing. It's like I do have a question, and this is a tangent because my wife loves Sedona. How far is Sedona from where you are?
Sedona is about 2.5 hour drive.
That's doable. So maybe I have to take my wife to Sedona.
Oh,
And then we'll go to
it's a beautiful day trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good to know. Anyway, I am a giant can art nerd. I am not an artist at all. I fucking can't draw or do any graphic design for my life. But I love when people invest in the can art. All right. That right there, that Chatty Monks one, that's fantastic.
It's beautiful. That's one of my personal favorites. You got to keep scrolling through, Greg, because I mean, Janet does incredible artwork.
That's up Greg's alley right there. The space theme. Greg's a big space
girl.
Guy.
Yeah. And there's so many really cool little details that she throws into all of her artwork too. Like on this one, distraction. Like she's got all the little Boston attributes in there. So like there's the Red Sox
and the Celtics.
Doug's favorite.
Am I gonna have to not like her because of the Boston stuff? Because I really dislike Boston sports.
Well, so this was in Boston, so that's why she did that.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Yeah, distraction is in Boston.
We'll try not to hold it against her.
Look at this one, Doug. Look at this one, Doug. Look how simple but complex. Look at
that is Greenwood Brewing, so that's here in Phoenix. And so Janet's really good in that if a brewery has some sort of like personal style aesthetic, she tries to recreate that for them. This
sorry, I love
I can't even see what y'all.
He hates Boston. I don't know what to say.
I don't hate Boston. I hate their sports teams.
Okay.
That's a big difference. Boston is great if you like driving in terribly laid out streets. But
Hello, he is rude.
That is me.
Anyway, back to this.
Sorry, there's like a million of them to get through.
No,
there's a few. So this beer was made for the Super Bowl. So that's what that aesthetic is.
That is great.
Yep. Labrosse, that's a Canadian Quebecois brewery. Luke, also a Quebecois brewery.
Yeah. Oh, look at this one, Doug. Look at this one.
So that's Southern Florida. So that's very Florida vibes with the mermaid on the rock with the ocean in the background.
Yep, I dig that a lot.
Dolly.
So this brewery is Broken Strings. They're in Orlando and they're completely music themed. So Dolly is the queen and the goddess of all things music. So we had to have her. On her hat, you can see there's like a little Beer Babes logo. So cute. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's the subtle things. You're right. Yeah. You're right. She hits these subtle notes. Yeah. Oh, look at this one. The graffiti. Ooh, dog. Look at this one.
So that was a muscadine ale. So that was made with muscadine grapes that came from Tennessee. That was a really beautiful, nuanced beer. I enjoyed that a lot.
Nice.
Wow.
And we saw that one.
This one again. Yeah.
And so when we do repeats, you can kind of change the label a little bit.
All right. First of all, that one right there from Brewyard, I just love that that's not some, like the way they used a woman and not being some skinny waif and just embracing women as they are. I think that's fucking-tastic. I love that one.
Yeah, it's a beautiful label.
And then
there's 2024. Yep. So starting this year, we decided because we're having so many collaborations now. We are doubling and tripling the amount we had. And Janet is a volunteer and she designs all of these from scratch. And so we said, we're not going to put that on you. That's an unreasonable task. We're going to have one label per year. And then that's it. So it'll be along the, the same branding guidelines as, say, Black is Beautiful or Brave Noise or some of those other larger collaborations. So when you see that label, where did I put the can? So when you see this label, you know that it's a charity beer. So that's why we made that decision. Yeah.
Excellent. So anything else about Babe's family before we move on? Because we may not make it back after this point.
Yeah.
Anything that we missed that you want to? Yeah. Anything else we missed that you feel is important about the project that we should let everybody know?
I mean, if anybody has a good brewery that supports women in their local vicinity that they think would be interested in participating, to please reach out. I mean, the way that we do these collaborations is mostly through word of mouth, because cold emailing people is not an efficient way. Usually it's somebody seeing something like this podcast, it resonates with them, and then they go to their favorite place and they say, hey, I heard about this. This seems really nice. How about, we start a conversation? So, I mean, it is Roxy and my goal. We want to hit every state in the United States, and we want to hit every province in Canada. And we can't do that by ourselves. We are just two people. So it is through the greatness of the community that we can continue doing what we started to do.
Excellent. Have y'all reached Wisconsin yet?
No, and I'm from Wisconsin, and we're going to have to talk about this.
Oh, no. You're great. Oh, awesome.
Let's go.
And Doug, I will be in New York in June. So I don't know where in New York you are, but New York is a huge state.
New York City?
Well, we have a collab with Yonkers, but after that collab, I'm going up to Buffalo because my good friend lives there, and I'm going to be up there for a couple of days.
All right. Well, you're going to be driving from Yonkers to Buffalo, then you are driving kind of past me, sort of. So
I'm going to fly.
Oh, you're going to fly? Well, yeah. I don't blame you. That's a good fucking 6-hour drive from Yonkers.
No, I'm flying.
Yeah, but Buffalo, the thing is, Buffalo and Yonkers are like almost equidistant for me. So,
okay.
But if you can figure out when that is, we could sort out some way because I could have my wife and I take a day off and figure out how to meet up with you guys. So,
well, if you want to come down to Yonkers for the release, it is Saturday, June 22nd. Hold on, I don't want to say it wrong. Yes, Saturday, June 22nd.
Yeah, I've never been to Yonkers, so maybe. So maybe that's my chance. And also maybe we could have our good friend Daniel Fisher who's been commenting. He lives in New York City, so maybe we can get him to come up too.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yonkers Brewing, they've been really great. They reached out to us. We didn't talk to them at all. The brewer there, Ian, he messaged us on our website and said, hey, I heard about you. Let's do this. So Daniel, June 22nd is the release. There's like 10 or so girls traveling, and we will be staying in Yonkers. Most of us will be Thursday through Monday of that weekend.
I have to see, my wife and I are going to 2 concerts in June, and I'm not sure it's going to be there in that time. So I have to find out. We're seeing Alanis Morissette. We're seeing Hozier. So
nice. That's okay. If not this time around, the next time around.
For sure.
Yes.
Also, Doug, you have some breweries that may be interested, and I could tell you who they are. But anyway.
You can. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll wait because I want to get to this. I
forgot about this.
I love when we have a Cicerone on. I love having a Cicerone on so I can hear this. If May is a beer style, Rachel. What would it be?
I'm gonna say a saison. Well, I mean, a saison is such a seasonal style, like traditionally,
Mhm.
not really anymore in our modern society, but
Mhm.
that coming of spring, having all of those herbs and flowers and things, coming up in your garden so that you can have those really nice differentiating flavors in your saison that you're brewing in your little farmhouse, in Belgium somewhere. I think it's perfect. It's spring into summer with all of these nice, fresh, beautiful flavors, which to me in my brain is the best time of the year, which is spring and summer. So
Excellent. And I wanted to explain. I wasn't shaking my head to you. I was shaking my head to April. April is the saison queen.
She loves
So,
saison.
now
of
that's
course,
my girl then, because saison's my
yes,
favorite style of beer.
yes, it's her favorite too. So every time this comes up, she'll say saison every month.
It's good to know what you
And
like.
yeah, no. And she was on, what was it, April? It was April. She was on in April.
She was on in
I
April. It
said,
was like the namesake for her.
yeah, and I was like, you can't say saison. You're barred from it. So
Didn't she say it anyways?
No,
yes,
no.
she did.
She
Of course.
Oh,
No, I think she did. I think she did. She's like, well, I'm not because of Greg. So like, right, right. But no, so Daniel says that Daniel before the show I barred Rachel from saying
you did.
Maybach and
Yeah,
Doug actually
And
and
because
me.
Doug. He
Yeah,
said she
because
did.
that was my first
and
thought.
myself. But so Daniel got that one in. That's good. Aloe agrees 1000% that saisons are good for May. I agree too. Doug, what do you think?
I'm going to go with what you had earlier was a Rattler. I see all kinds of Rattlers coming out now, and
Rattler.
it's just like the time I had for April. I had Gosas, which are like one of my favorite beer styles, but and I see some of them still, but
Not as
the
much as we
Rattler,
used to.
no, man, that just Gosa
Not
market
even
much smaller than it used to be, and I'm a little
that it
sad
used to
about
be.
that.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
But it's kind of going the way of the brewed IPA. but but I think Radler's like it's that time of year where of course you get the summer shandy, which is not really a fucking summer beer, but it's it's Radler
It
style.
is.
So I guess, but the Radlers kind of go into like early summer. Like I already mowed my lawn once, so yeah, I guess lawnmower beer style. All right, Radler's what I'm going with.
Nice.
Yeah. Doug, I'm gonna steal yours. I'm gonna say Gosas. I'm gonna say I like them. They're nice, light. I like that little punch of sour. I just usually make fun of you, Doug, about them. I just think that when there was a rise of Gozas, there was really some bad ones, Rachel.
Oh, there were some real bad ones
that were like over salty, if that makes sense. I understand that that's how they're made, but it was just too much, if that makes sense. There's
Sure.
that line that was crossed. And that's why and then Doug always would talk about him. So of course, if Doug talks about anything, I have to make fun of it. So it's like it's kind of what goes on.
If
so
you're not noticing the theme, I am the punching bag of this show.
Yeah. Well, Rachel, the truth is that Doug and I agree on so much that when we do disagree, we almost have to find things to disagree about. And then when we do disagree about it, we make big deals out of it. It doesn't even need to be a big deal. So
but we make it a big deal.
No, it doesn't.
So,
but yeah, so with that note, I want to get to this, y'all, because I think we have some interesting stories here. Doug, that music always makes me more calm. I don't know why.
Very jazzy, man.
Well, it's like you're in a coffee shop or a bookstore.
Right.
Like Nora Jones in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Right. So since we're all calm and I don't like that, we're going to
do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Anyway.
That shit always cracks me up.
So we'll do it live. Right. I have to get a little we need a little spice here.
Oh no, I love it.
Rachel,
I love it.
Rachel, what are you reading?
So I have it here.
All right.
Where the forest meets the stars. Oh, look at you. You're so well prepared. So yeah, I am only 8 very short chapters in. So the story is just kind of getting started. But I just grabbed this. My gym that I work out at, we have a book exchange, and I was kind of just perusing through, and the title kind of intrigued me. I'm a super outdoorsy person, so I was like, "Huh, what's this?" And I didn't really read anything like about it before I grabbed it. I just grabbed it, but it seems to be kind of sci-fi-y, which generally is not my preference. I have a really hard time with sci-fi fantasy things. Like, if it doesn't exist in real life, I have a hard time making things up in my head. Like there's all these made up galaxies and animals and, things that are in sci-fi and fantasy. I don't like that. I'm not into that. I don't want to have to make that shit up. Like I want to know what I'm reading about. But this is tame sci-fi for me. So the premise thus far is there's a biologist who is observing birds in Illinois, and she's out in the woods one day, and there's this very small girl that is out in the woods for no reason. And this little girl tells her that she is here on Earth from another planet for a part of her schooling. And as part of this schooling, all of the children, the alien children, have to come to planet Earth and discover 5 miracles, of which whatever they deem fit being a miracle. And so she has, and part of what's kind of unraveling is that this alien is not like a physical being per se. So she has taken over the body of a girl that was killed, because there are like bruise marks on her neck and like other parts of her body. So there's probably some sort of murder mystery in there too, along with biology in the natural world, and then space and existence outside of us here on Earth. So I think I'm going to like it.
A lot of existential stuff in that. That's cool, though.
We'll see.
Excellent. Doug, what are you reading?
So I tend to vacillate between sci-fi and horror. I'm reading a sci-fi book, but I'm also reading this. This is Day of the Door. This is from Laurel Hightower. I've been trying this year to really go and read more BIPOC and female authors. I have tended in the past to read a lot more male authors because it's pretty dominant in publishing industry. The premise of this is basically there's 4 siblings who are in a house, and their mother murders one of the kids, but she proclaims that she was possessed by something in the house, and she begs them as adults to come back so she can tell the whole story. It's giving me 2 different books combined, 2 books that I love. Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay, and if you mash that together with The Children of Red Peak by Craig DeLuey. Head Full of Ghosts, probably many people read. Craig DeLuey, nobody knows who he is. He's a fucking ridiculously great, scary author. But it's only 200 pages. I'm about 40 pages in, and she's pulling me in on it. So, like, I read her previous book was Below, which is down here. I read that. That was really fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that takes me. So that's been fun.
Salante. Well, Doug, this is the time where we wrap up, buddy. Rachel, it's been an awesome conversation. I told y'all I wanted to keep it to 2 hours because I feel that this is going to be one that we're going to hopefully stream again, have an encore presentation when Doug and I are out of town or we're doing things. So we're going to wrap here. So what we normally do here, Rachel, is we talk about the beers that we had and you go over them. So I don't know if you want to talk about, of course, the ones that you had, and then Doug will go and then I'll go. What did you have, and how did you enjoy them, and what was the yeah? All right, what's going on there?
So my camera's throwing me off here. So, Baron of Arizona from Bone Haus Brewing, West Coast style IPA, clean, crisp, piney, crystal clear. You can see straight through it like it's a lager. Yep, a little bit dry. That's what my palate's craving right now. I'm not feeling anything that's really heavy right now. And then Bay Brew from Something in the Water. They are in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And this is a lemon blueberry wheat. Nice, light, very lemony, citrusy on the nose. A little bit tart from the blueberries in the flavor. Mouthfeel is lighter than what I would expect from a wheat beer. So overall, this is like a pool time, beach time, summer crusher.
Very nice.
Yes.
Doug, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go real quick. I'm going to do them in order of what I liked. This was this mixed berry pie diners pie series. Definitely hit what they were trying to talk about. They said it was like this a pie and a beer, and man, it was thick and all that stuff. Not my jam. Definitely hit the marks of what they were trying to do, though. So I handed it off.
Unintended, not his jam. Go on.
Yeah. Second one was one I didn't talk about on the show, but I had a chocolate strawberry ice cream stout from New Trail.
Wow.
So this is a stout with a kind of sort of flat stout with
Doug special.
Yeah, 8.6%. Brewed with chocolate, strawberry, and lactose.
Only
it was all right.
adjuncts.
It was okay.
It didn't have as many adjuncts as you want. That's the problem.
No, not quite. Didn't. Now the thing is, that other one had a million adjuncts, and I didn't like it. So then there's the porter, the chocolate after midnight, the Gremlin style beer from Stoneyard. That was like I said, just a really good solid beer. But the Funk Brewing, the Smorter, was definitely my favorite one that I had. So this was really, really good.
There's a shock. Funk wins.
Phenomena.
Funk wins. Do you want the funk? Funk is amazing. Can't say enough about that brewery. Love it. So I can't say enough about this one. The caramel just didn't do it, Doug. I don't know why aging in another year would have helped. I don't get it, but hey,
it helped it if you like a sugar bomb. So yeah.
Number 2 is this Farmhouse Ale. Drank very much like Spotted Cow. Doug knows the complicated relationship I have with Spotted Cow. Yeah. Okay. Doug knows the complicated history that I have with Spotted Cow. I like Spotted Cow, but I think it's the worst beer that New Glarus brews, and people get all offended and in their feelings about that when I say it. But it's my perception, and I feel it's the truth. It's a great beer, but New Glarus makes a ton of great beer, so that's really the context of that. But this
I
is
think
a good
most
one for
Wisconsin people would agree with you in that statement.
Yeah, and it's great though because it's everywhere, Rachel. I can find it anywhere. Like I don't have to in dive bars. It's in dive bars, it's always there, so it's always something. So number 3 is the triple or the tripel.
No, tripel. Let's say it right.
Ale Asylum. It's really good. It's getting a little long in the tooth, but it's still there. It's starting to catch a little heat, and I think that's when tripels get a little bit older. I think that's what happens. They catch you feel that heat more. It kind of wears off. And then last and certainly not least is the Imperial Rattler, which was amazing. Finished it. It was juicy, it was fruity, but it was a big one. But it didn't feel that big. And it was nice. And again, New Glarus. Shout out to New Glarus. Almost everything they do is amazing. If you get a miss from New Glarus, write it down and take a picture because it just doesn't happen. So on that note, we want to thank Rachel one last time. Normally we say goodbye to our guests, and then we have a little talk. But we're just going to gracefully exit. Rachel, we will like to extend. You have an open invite to come here whenever you want. I think you have the link to schedule, so you are open to schedule whenever you want, even if it's next. Well, it can't be next week, but it could be the week after. If you have a release or you have some big Beer Babes family information, or if you're going to announce that collab that you and I are going to work with here in Wisconsin, or whatever we do in the future, Doug, we need a Brothers and Booze collab, Doug. I've talked to you about this before, so
yes, we do.
We need to figure out how to do that. Maybe it's with the Beer Babes family, Doug. You don't know, man. You never know.
Maybe.
Right. So, yeah. So on that note, any last thing you would like to say, Rachel, before you get the last word, Doug? Or I'm sorry, Doug, you get the last word. You get the second last word, and then we'll give Rachel. Why do I keep on her April, Doug? We'll get Rachel the last word. Doug, you get the second last word, and luckily I'm done talking.
Just thanks for being on. It was really fun, and I know this was kind of like a cold, hey, let's go and talk, and I'm just glad you were here and be able to talk with us. This was great. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you reaching out. I mean, beer is the social lubricant, the reason why folks get together. It is what has sustained us socially for our entire existence as a civilization, and it is my privilege to be able to sit down with wonderful folks like yourselves and to have good conversation and good beer. So I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you too, and maybe you'll meet Daniel. He's a great guy. We could all vouch for him.
Yes.
And last, I said I was going to shut up, but Jerry next week, y'all. Y'all know Jerry, co-host here, friend of the show, friend of everyone. Down in Dallas. Modern Brews and Beats. Is that what it's called, Doug? Modern Brews and Beats?
Yep.
Look at this. You're going to get an email tonight, Rachel.
Good. Hit me up.
Excellent. Right. Hey, April. Send if you want to jump on, if Rachel stays on, you can jump on and maybe we could talk after the show if you want to. April.
That's fine. Yeah.
Hit us up. All right, y'all. On that note, we're getting out of here. Thanks, Rachel, again. It was awesome. Thanks, Doug, for doing this as usual.
As always.
Doug, you my shit. You already know though. Doug, you know I want to play, but we.
God damn it!
I don't know what that is, but that was weird.
That's this lady that ran for office in Utah.
Oh, okay.
Bad.
Bye, y'all.